ATM existed, but very happy to have met a number of you over the last few weeks. So running for District 12 in the upcoming election, and on the dates on the screen, we didn't have names. It's the date for the municipal elections. In fact, early voting starts this coming Tuesday. So I encourage all of you City of Dallas residents to get out and vote. And if you're in District 12, please vote for me. So yeah, my position on DART and public transport, the environment, economic growth, all of that goes together, right? And unfortunately, the incumbent in District 12 for the last 6 years, and I sat next to her in Dallas Morning News interview 10 days ago, and if you read her voter guide, Dallas Morning News 411, or no, that's Legal Women Voters, but she specifically says that she doesn't want outdated trains. She thinks people want the privacy of their motor vehicles to get around town. And I just think that is such messaging. It's actually incorrect, and it's not good for the city as a whole. We need to make it easy for everybody to get to work, to get to dinner, to get home to their families, to do different things. Not everybody has their own motor vehicle. And we need to do more to get DART and public transport built and working throughout the city. The Silver Line in particular has been delayed for something like 500 days, specifically because, and perhaps the gentleman from DART can offer some additional insights here, but it's my understanding informally that she's delayed the Silver Line project by up to 500 days, which has cost us hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer revenue. That's money that we could be using for other things in our city. So,
a lot of it is for networking and denying or delaying permits.
Right. So, safety, but have approved the project. The voters have approved the project, and we know it's going to be funded. We need to get it up and operational as quickly as possible so we can be generating sales tax revenues to pay back those bondholders. So this is not this is a logical issue. It's a financial issue. It's a business issue. It's a taxpayer issue. And the current councilwoman claims to be fiscally responsible. That is fiscally responsible enough. So I would like to talk at people. I would rather make it more of a conversation. So I'm not a prophet yet. I don't have by any stretch of the imagination. And all of these issues are complicated and they can't be resolved with a 30-second soundbite. But I am very committed to listening, researching, understanding, and then figuring out how we execute a plan. My background, I'm an accountant by qualification. I worked as a CFO for 12 years and then started my own financial advisory practice with Edward Jones in 2015, built that business. We don't have anybody like that around City Hall. They're attorneys, they're non-for-profit, which is fine, but let's have some diversity. There's only one other old, bald, white guy in there, so let's get some diversity there. So with that, why don't we take some questions? And, I'm not going to say that I've got all the answers, but I can certainly provide you with some of my views on some of them.
All right, so first, does anybody actually live in District 12 in Dallas? Okay.
Any questions?
Job, any questions? Do you have a question? Okay.
Okay, I'll hold the mic. If anybody has questions, I will bring the mic to you.
All right. So one of the big issues is with the land use around a lot of the train stations is pretty poor. Do you support efforts to improve the zoning around darts, rail stations, and transit centers to make the system useful?
Yeah, I mean, the simple answer is yes. I mean, that's the common sense solution, right? I mean, we need to make it easier. And I think we chatted a little earlier. So the Silver Line goes through District 12, which is the furthest from downtown Dallas, right? And this is probably where we've got the most businesses and people transiting in every day to work. So we need to have parking around those stations so that people can park, hop on the train and get down here. And then once we're here, we need to be able to get to wherever we need to go. And we need to make that easier for people to do. So the simple answer is yes.
Hi, my name is Garrett. I am a board member of the Dallas Bicycle Coalition. Actually, we emailed back and forth. Yeah. I don't have a question. I want to just thank you. So just real quick, I want to, because biking and transit goes so much together, I just would like to read Mr. Rossouw's answer here. We asked, do you plan to continue the development of protected on-street bike lanes, including cases that involve removing car lanes? Why or why not? And the answer that you gave us was, I absolutely support more bike-friendly streets. We need to make it safer to get around in Dallas by bike. The city prioritizes roads for cars and not enough public or bicycle transport. More of our youth are not getting driver's licenses like they used to and need ways to get around other than Uber. Bicycles are more environmentally friendly, and also there are obvious health benefits. More cycling, please. So that's it. Thank you so much.
Yeah. And to answer that question, as a cyclist, my girlfriend and I have on regular occasions gone biking through the city. We've participated in what's the name of the Friday night bike ride? Critical Mass. Thank you. Sorry about that. We've participated in that, and we can be with that with all of the cars and the lack of bike lanes, and we safety. It's a safety issue for our cyclists.
It's worth for dog, and I'm glad something that's common jokes are good about the system is the unhoused using it as a shelter, particularly in the middle of winter, in the middle of summer. And one of the ways for us, we support city initiatives, support resources and opportunities for the unhoused to have other shelters and options, and not the buses and trains.
Yeah, yes. Again, that seems like such a simple and obvious answer. The answer is yes. So homelessness is an issue, and on Thursday I went to a couple of events and was able to talk to a number of folks who worked in that homelessness. What's a better word for area, but initiatives, private initiatives, and to wanting to get a better understanding of why. And I told them the story, and I'll tell you the story. My girlfriend and I have this ongoing debate. She thinks that homelessness is because of mental health issues, and I think that if we resolve jobs and economic growth, we're going to be able to resolve the homelessness issue. So I asked some experts, people who work in it every single day. And yeah, it's both. But where it starts is support systems. And if somebody is unfortunate enough to lose their job, that may mean they're going to lose their house or the place that they're renting as well. And if they don't have a support system, friends or family, they could end up homeless. And that's where the cycle starts. That's where potential mental health challenges come in. So we need to be able to be in a position to support those who end up in that situation, but we also need to try and prevent it on the front end with better jobs, more jobs, more good paying jobs, and then have affordable housing. If people kicked out of their homes because they can't pay their property taxes because property taxes are too high.
That's
So the other thing that search on when I get to City Hall in a couple of weeks' time, is the impact on property tax revenue of reducing or potentially eliminating property taxes on homes valued 200 to 250,000 and below. I want to understand what it does to our revenue and our income statement and balance sheet, because for a number of reasons. One is inflation has hit hard. Again, we have places for people to live. And if you're finding and you get hit with a $4,000 tax bill and you can't pay it, what's going to happen to your homelessness and shelter issues down the road? So this can be attacked from a number of different areas. Now, again, I'm not promising that. It's something that I'm going to research. Again, my background is accounting, finance, and I analyze and I look at the numbers before I make a recommendation. But the reason why that has come to my attention is because in the business that I'm in, one of the things that I provide to my clients are municipal bonds as investments. And we know that after COVID, there were large amounts of federal money sent to the different municipalities. So I know that the balance sheets for a lot of the municipalities have been beefed up by that federal funding. And I don't know if any of you noticed, but your property tax revenues have gone up as well because the value of your homes has gone up. So the city's balance sheets are actually in better shape than they were pre-COVID. Now, Dallas has got some challenges. We had the pension fund challenge. I've got to make sure I understand how that's going to be funded. But we're in a way better position now than we were 5 years ago. So where can we provide relief to citizens of and Dallasites to make their life a little easier?
Question about frequency of the silver line, but then also a question, what are your thoughts on how you manage the quote community pushback that you might experience? So currently the silver line is planned for 60-minute headways with 30-minute peak, which is pretty low, low frequency. A lot of us would like to see 30-minute headways and 20-minute peak. So it is more aligned with what you'd expect from a light rail service. But also a lot of us have been around, back when a lot of us here were involved in Commerce for Better Transit. And so we've seen the reaction going to the Silver Line meetings of pushing for higher frequency, and then other people from District 12. But we've also been fortunate enough to notice that the incumbent likes to brag about how there are more multifamily in District 12 technically than other districts, but those constituents that she likes to brag about having aren't the ones showing up at these Silver Line meetings, and they're not the ones who are, giving a pushback. And you can see the diverse array of people that we have here, and we're pretty confident that, if you have more of those other parts of your district turn out to these Silver Line meetings, they probably say what we all say, which is that it just makes more sense and be more useful if the Silver Line ran at higher frequencies. So what are your thoughts on frequency on the Silver Line, and what are you perhaps how are you going to handle the pushback that we all know that you're going to get?
Yeah, so the pushback is going to come from single family homeowners that live closest to that Silver Line rail, which was already there. And we added another track, but that rail line was already there. I've lived there since 2011. I've run that neighborhood backwards and forwards across that line 500 times, if not more, before the construction started. The pushback that we get is the single family homeowners. That's her special interest group, that her neighbors that she's on next door with. She's not on next door with the people in the 65% of the district that live in multifamily units. Her position again is people prefer the privacy of their cars, but the bulk people that do not have cars live in multifamily residential. It's the single family folks probably have 3 cars. So I totally agree with your position. I can't answer the frequency at this point. That may be a better answer for the dark folks, but I would suggest that we look at demand. It may need to be a tiered approach. We launch it, we get it going, and we see how the demand goes. And if there's demand for more, then we increase the frequency. So that would be how I would initially look at it. Look at the numbers, look at the demand. One of the things I'm a little concerned about is District 12 near the stations, and it's how we get there, because there are no stations in District 12. There's one in UTD, at UTD, where there's parking, and then there's the next one is in Addison, I believe. So where the multi-family locations in District 12 don't have an easy way to get to a Silver Line train station. A Silver Line train station. So that's something that I think needs to be addressed and considered. And one of the things that I think is important is that we spend more time talking to the folks at DART as opposed to, and listening to them and their suggestions, as opposed to arguing with them and dictating to them, which I believe has been the approach of the council to date.
It's not a equal action, but kind of a fun. Station in District 12, perhaps you can help me with that. Even you can say District 12 residents demanding that the station on their section of the track isn't the case.
Councilor Mendelson's position was that residents in District 12 didn't want the line or the station. And in the haggling that laid out the plan, must be the station that would have been in District 12 was cut.
Interesting. So, Sandy Grayson, who preceded Karen Mendelson, has endorsed me, and I've had conversations with her, and she has said that those cuts in those two stations actually predated Kara. She may be taking credit for something that, so that her single-family neighborhoods can give her that credit, but those stations that were originally supposed to be in District 12 didn't end up being built because of lack of parking. So one of them was supposed to be where the Adventure Landing, which is now being purchased by the city, was supposed to be. And at that time, he didn't want to sell any portion of it for parking. So as a result, they didn't want to put a station there. And then the other one was going to be right next to multifamily at Davenport and McCallum. And again, no parking, which is why they cut that. So that's what Sandy Grayson explained to me, which predated Kara. It sounds like that DART may have a different version of events, and we need to talk about that and make sure we've got the story straight. But the bottom line is, there are no stations and there's no parking in District 12. Whether it was Kara or before that, because we couldn't find parking, it needs to be rectified.
Okay, so that was the question, but I couldn't reserve that since security. And I think the so it's been a little bit since much I suspect to resign.
But the line itself was there when a lot of those people built those houses.
I think they stopped in the 80s or 90s, but the question is the beaten path, but I'll ask you because it's been in the newspaper today and all week long for that matter. I'm managing everything last minute. Last minute transit, being able to, to get off the transit and get again easily and conveniently. As I'm sure you're aware, there's a concept now for Houston and Dallas, and the concept is for it to pull up into the really short of the innovation downtown with 2000 that seemed to that was built at taxpayer expense, and instead to sell the further from downtown, and it was sold by the I call it so that 1999 Kentucky Prevention Fund having this on their property. And a little bit of the distance from downtown Houston is Hobby Airport. So I was wondering if you've been following the high-level situation and what your thoughts are about making that actually connected to Amtrak and to the TRE and to DART and to the regional speed car line downtown.
Yeah, so I talk intelligently to that because I have not been on it, but it's something I certainly will take a look at. Good to know. Thank you.
Okay, Jay, I think we've only got time for one or two more questions. So Jay's one.
So the lieutenant likes to talk about her endorsements all the time. I know that you have a number of endorsements, and I think things you can do with those types of endorsements. Do you want to talk a little bit about that?
Any one in particular that you're referring to?
I think D11, Janie, we were endorsing you, and then several of our current councilors.
Yeah, so a number of current council members have endorsed me. They actually approached me to get in the race because they've had a struggle working with Cara to get anything done for the city as a whole. And as a result, District 12 suffers. So District 12 pays the fifth most in terms of residential property taxes out of 14 districts. We're getting the least amount of bond dollars in the 2024 bond. And that is because she doesn't work well with others. Over 80 times, and we've got a sample of them on the back here, and you can actually go to the voting records. She has been the only no vote on propositions that have passed, whether it's for sound bites or what, it's not effective for our district. And if you watched the Pepper Square debate a couple of weeks ago, she was vehemently opposed to that. And if you read the Dallas Morning News write-up where they actually endorse her, but they weren't very complimentary about her, she pushes back on everything. And that's why I've been endorsed by a number of the existing council members, past council members, including Sandy Grayson, who's very loved and served many years for District 12 very, very successfully. I actually just got off the phone while driving up here. The Sierra Club is endorsing me, so you'll see that coming out in the next day or two on the website as well. Dallas Neighbors Housing has endorsed me, and they have their name on, but they have as well. Because again, we're very proud in Dallas of all of the people that are coming to work here in our growing economy. We need to have someone for their needs. And one of the things that those single family homeowners in District 12 that are Cara's special interest, they don't want, not in our backyard. But then where? You don't want homelessness, but you don't want them in your backyard either. So where are we going to have them stay, have them live? And if they're going to provide sales tax revenue, property tax revenue in the city of Dallas that's going to benefit all of us, we need to find places for them to live. Well, guess who votes against almost every affordable housing development in the city? Medicine. So we need to find affordable housing opportunities for our growth, to facilitate our growth, even if you District 12. Let's work with the other council members so that for the benefit of the city as a whole, and that's the thing that I think some of these special interests in District 12 forget. The voting at City Hall around the horseshoe, we get a vote on issues related to every district, not just District 12. So we need to be fast for the whole of the city of Dallas, not just a little pocket of single-family homeowners. Does that answer your question? Yeah. And hopefully I answered your question, sir, as well. Okay. Well, appreciate all of your time. Thanks for having us, and thanks for the questions. Hopefully, other than the vote, those in District 12, please share our candidacy. We're running catch up. She's been around for 6 years. She's got a lot more name recognition. She's also got a lot more money in the bank. So anybody who would feel appropriate to send a couple of dollars our way so that we can execute the rest of our campaign, it would really be most appreciated. I appreciate the invite. I'm supportive of public transport, of DART, and I want to work better than DART so we can get that silver line operational as quickly as possible, safely, but quickly as possible. Look forward to talking with you and Michelle and some of the others on DART soon as well. So appreciate all of your time. Thanks very much.
Fully supportive of DOT. We need more.
So, is it Emma? No, Garrett now with Dallas Bike Coalition. Hey, cool. Well, that saved me 10 seconds to introduce myself, so I'll get right into it. I'm on the board of my position. I want to talk today about the Urbanists Get Out the Vote. If you guys were at the general meeting for the Bike Coalition like a couple of days ago, you're just going to hear a slightly more polished version of whatever I said the other day. But, you know, this is a community. You know, Data and the Bike Coalition, Dallas Infrastructure Housing, Urbanistas, Better Blocks, these groups are all working together to build the kind of Dallas that's just livable, the kind that you just told us about, you know, that you're fighting for. And so, you know, showing up at these meetings is super important. Showing up and doing stuff on social media is important. Talking to your friends is important. But we also need to make sure that our elected officials and the candidates see that we are a political power and that we're voting as a bloc. That doesn't mean that all the groups are always going to 100% agree on every little thing, but generally speaking, they need to, when they go to bed at night, they need to be like, oh man, I hope we didn't piss Data off. Like, that's not good. So yeah, on April 27th, we are going to vote together. There's 3 rally points that you'll meet at 12:30 p.m. Make sure to eat lunch beforehand. There's not going to be like a food thing until the day after. But there's 3 rally points. One's at Mockingbird Station, and that's for transit together, like DFW Urbanistas and Data are going to be there. Victory, AAC, or the end of the Katy Trail, like that general area for Pedal to the Polls, and that's with my group, the Dallas Bicycle Coalition. And then the other is the Bishop Arts streetcar stop, and DFW Urbanistas and Better Block are going to be meeting up there. So we're all going to just kind of meet at those places at 12:30 and then coalesce on the West End, meet up at West End Square at 1 p.m. And then once everybody kind of arrives, we're going to walk to the Dallas Records Building. That's after the meetup, sorry. Anyway, the public places near West End Station, we're going to meet up there. And then after we all vote, we're going to go to Pegasus City Brewery about 3 p.m. for a social. They open at 2, but we'll get there about 3. And then there's a little note at the very bottom that just says, make sure that you don't, this is like a Texas state election law, make sure that you're not wearing something for like a specific candidate. They can't admit you to the polling place if you do that. So be careful with that. And I think it's all in the upper vote. And I just wanted to also mention the Dallas Bike Ride, which is also coming up. I don't know if you have a slide for that. That's cool. No, it's okay. So just be looking for that. It's on if you follow Dallas Bicycle Coalition on social media, you'll see it. But the idea is that just similar to the Dallas Marathon, a lot of the streets are being closed down to cars so that you can just kind of ride at your own pace. It can be a little pricey, but there is a code. Let me grab that real quick. So if you sign up for the Dallas Bike Ride with Team DBC, that's all one word, TEAN DBC, then you'll get a little bit of a discount. So that's just like a cool way to say like, oh, look, this is what Dallas would be like if there weren't so many cars and you can ride a bike safely. But yeah, that's all I had. Thanks, cool. Yeah, thank you.
Should never smoke too soon. Does anybody have any questions for Garrett? Thanks, guys. Thank you, Mark. Y'all take care. Okay, cool. So next up, we've got some friends from the ATU today. Forgive me, Diego, I forgot the names of the guys you said kind of a speak, but you guys are welcome to come up now if y'all want to say a few words.
Thank us for giving us some time here, the State President, Donnie Johnson, my Executive Vice, and I'm good, that's the Vice President of Maintenance. We're all but 18, 30, local 13 to the room, but I've been president this time first. Thanks. I'm seeing some familiar faces out here. I'm seeing familiar faces because I'm a driver first. And I'm the president right now at local 13 women, and I see Phyllis. I'm a driver for the couple of years, and Phyllis used to ride me all the time on 31 and all other different routes or whatever. So she knows the subject matter I'm talking about, that I'm going to talk about right now is very important. And I'm pleased to see that we have a very diverse crowd, old, young, good looking, and good looking. So what I'm about to say right now is very important, and it's important for the survival of God, not only our future. And the reason I'm saying I got a very God spot out here, it's important for young people's future as well as people of the present right now. This is a big deal. It's Bill 3957 and also Bill 1557. I'm not bad. 1557 and 3187, my bad. Those two bills are vital for DART survival right now. Never since I've been working here for 24 years and other people have worked here as well, that we are at the stage right now that this could destroy us, destroy our whole transportation system. And that we can do it for them. We're not a one-horse town. Dallas is a big city. We're the fourth biggest city in the nation right now. Not only that, but that as a whole is the biggest in Texas right now. For us to let that happen to us because one city now said they're going to have their way. Now, the rest of the surrounding cities said they're going to be able to comply with notice for that 1% sales tax. They'll comply to it, but they're not going to do it if one person got a line because they say, why should we pay this if they have their own way? This is why this is important. If that passes, it's going to cut half your transportation in half. That means I hear a lot of people talking about, routes and for the sector that don't have cars. I heard there's some of them that say she's not for transportation because she got cars. But everybody don't have that. This is transportation has been around for a long time, a really long time. When they started putting children in half the field, we corrected that, but the underprivileged could not go to the hospital. They had to be out there near accessible program, but they could just walk out, maybe a block or two. Then all of a sudden, they had to go almost like a half a mile. People come to the food to food, come to the groceries. These centers, a lot of people that don't have cars need. One of them around the but I think she chose it because she enjoyed the service, and I don't know because she said everybody said she enjoyed it. So she's been doing it for longer than I've been driving or whatever. So people like her have supported us over the years. And we got a whole lot more people that put us over the years. I've had people tell me I've been driving about bus over 40 some years, never had a car. They've been on guard. So for us to let one city handicap us, where it cuts us in half, that would be capital traffic. Now here's the other thing that's coming up. We have it's coming up in 2026. How are we going to pass Dallas, Texas? Texas now, and we honestly we got a just going to illustrate this. Just imagine a big gigantic bus and a Volkswagen. So all of a sudden we change from a big bus down to a Volkswagen. You know, this is not just a event. This is a world event. And I say world event. Yeah. They're going to be coming across Houston, San Antonio, Austin, and other places, whatever. And now we have all actors, San Antonio, Austin, and probably Houston, like one some of that business that we don't have. And not only the infrastructure. The infrastructure is going to change around here. Other things outside are not really saying because why did I go state? We got to get things ready for the event. So they change that makes more houses, more apartments. Some people going to come to this event and going to say, I'm staying there, but I like that, but they're not going to be able to transportation. Have you guys been looking how you're doing? We're running out of houses right now. Keep that permanent cookie. It's attractive right now. No state tax. It's attractive right now. And for us to go in and not, as a big city, it'll be better. Last time I checked, Dallas stands about over $2 billion and climbing. Guess who else been getting money? Austin, San Antonio, Houston. Everybody, so everybody been getting money so far. And Plano.
Yeah.
Plano. From this. The city line coming Plano. Guess what? I was trying to do a little bit Plano. Now then, so the city name don't see what happens here. So they know how vital it is. It's very important, guys, and I appreciate y'all coming there. We're gonna need your support in every aspect of this. We're gonna need your support on this. So thank you for coming out today, and it's really I have so much to say. I appreciate that. Charlie, so like you said, this transportation is the heart of the city. You know, that's what keeps the city moving and keeps all the cities connected. You know, like one example, my wife works in downtown. We live in North Dallas. She rides the train parade. And she's not going to pay food. We're not going to pay $300 a month for parking downtown. We're going to sit there and book all that traffic down 75 and it's more consistent. They have the train. They have the right way. The car got to stop. It's more efficient to move around the city. You know, you have a house bed. Again, she's going to use the train to get to work. You know, if I have business to take care of downtown, I live bus will pick me up on my street, take me to the rail station, take me downtown. I don't have to pay the car down. Skip on the train. That's how efficient it is, and it's more consistent. But I think I remember somebody saying here last month or 2 months ago about just imagine adding 200,000 more drivers to these freeways and streets. You know, I mean, let's see how it is now. You can't even take the back roads. There's a back road back there now. Right. That's right. You know, they want to, extending the freeways, adding traffic lights and sidewalks. It's not going to happen. You got to continue to invest in transit. You know, this is just the only way to keep this city moving. That's right. That's right. To be efficient. But yeah, I mean, I've already seen the effects. I think y'all saw last month. The dark board voted to give $5 back, which was an amount of around $32 million. We're already being affected that. You know, it's crazy. Here at work at Dark, now they don't even want to buy us coffee. Coffee cups. Like that's gonna make a difference, you know. I've got very nice meeting to go meeting. We have our internal elections as well. But Dark's looking for every they're not going to start from the top. They're going to start from the bottom. On the front line employees. It's crazy. They're going to start with the bus drivers, mechanics, the rail maintenance, rail operators. It's crazy. We're the ones that keep the operation going. That's right. These compensators are not out there operating buses and trains. They're not out there maintaining the burning buses, maintaining the tracks or signals, whatever, to keep the operation going. They're just sitting in the office behind this. You know, this was like Johnny said, this house bill, he said, still there, 1557, got to shut it down. You know, we have to for it's just the future, extending roads, it's not sufficient, you know. So it's construction everywhere, millions and billions of dollars. And this is political. There's all comes from these politicians that are bought out by these oil tycoons. You know, they want to keep cars and keep as many cars on the road as they can, keep burning as much gas as they can to line up their pockets. But Charlie and that's again, Carter State Senators, Carter representatives, coming out and talking with us next week about bringing what's happening. Keep up, baby. So next day, it's
This coming Thursday, 8 a.m. Be with us with Tower and okay, good deal. It's Bernard Ray, our executive vice. I was trying to sing it. See, I was trying to sing it. Mr. Diego say, right now I'm gonna do one thing. I'm putting my head up, throw it up in the air. The city is on me. We gotta do something. Like saying things without information. I heard some information about the local trains going down the road. There was an approval for a new LRVs. We need 150 LRVs to replace our fleet. Our fleet is 40 years old. A fleet that we have in there is the fleet that we had when we initially started the kickoff for the rural part. 150 of them. They have put the budget down from 98 is what we can purchase. Okay? We run 98 cars up and down that track every day. There's into one other and maybe 100 miles of track. Like LRVs on that track. During the Texas AM, we run all hands on deck for Texas AM. For Texas AM. That's right. We call back up on service of those trains. Yeah. I think we're looking at like 9 vehicles of all trains on deck, 3 LRVs going up and down the track. This is what impact that we're talking about. We're in the same cut 5%. Right. So this is the we have not increased our to tracks. When the train initially started, it went from Lake Station, I think, to Mockingbird, and from Mockingbird to Packard. We have the same number of mechanics working the service that they have for the right and down of that service. And now we're going to our we're going from all the Philadelphia. We're going from the main line to our service. I think we're service. When you put all the cables together, and then it's a new emphasis and all that, so you cut it in half, that's 300 miles. That's a lot of service. Like a lot of people to ensure that we are safely. We live a safe environment, the security of individuals to have a work-life balance for their interest to go outside and build at a designated time. This 5% is going to do part of that. 5%. 5% could. And 5% plus. Some of the job loss. That allows branch to get to the tree, to connect to the rails and get to home. That came to the emergency
And that's the money coming from the government. Government, since you realize some $6. So, surplus. No, but didn't have surplus. The one that decided she would have used. And as an avenue of the route, we showed another avenue in the way we would see about money that is now needed for the future. That means he said that was going on in 1903. 1903. We didn't have a slang, we didn't have a AAC line that goes from Parker Road to the AAC. We didn't have a train that went from Parker Road to the Fairport. And that's the name of the train. So now they're going to have two trains that will possibly get to the fortunate up and down the city line, the train, and the port line. We're doing the projects thing there. And then every type of infrastructure can profit from. They're coming out of your pocket. We're going to keep people getting from where we need to go. We're going to put your jobs. They cut off, we're going to put you on jobs. Because the reconstruction to the location you need to go. Citizens some people citizens seven days a week. 7 days a week. So, it's not the first. So we see this is the purpose of the product. Well, like everything is running up. You know, you have to stand up and then we'll stop people from doing that and cut them off. Thank you. Okay, well, thanks again for being you for coming by. You guys are welcome to stay the rest of the time. We are going to be talking about that 5% GMP and how data might fight it. So our general reports, Robert, any updates from Bob you want to share or we want to keep going?
Just a real brief thing.
Questions?
5% is binding. Vote to make it binding that happen on July 8th. Please mark it on the calendar. Unofficially, as this is a person, a lot of us are hoping that people come out with torches and pitchforks and just fight like hell against the 5% cut.
July 8th.
July 8th.
Yep.
Because we wanted the comments to be for in advance, so show up at least at 6. No later. Yeah, no later. July 8th. That's all I got.
Thanks.
That's July 8th. That's July 8th. All right, let's get on this agenda here. So you guys have been stuck with me for a little while, because Connor is over that. So we'll try to go through everything. Just getting my slides up here so I know what I'm talking about. Let's jump in. So let's start with some of these bill updates. A lot has been happening in the past couple of weeks. Here's where we're at right now. HB 3987, global program at 24. Sounds like a film video. If you want to be going down, data is plenty. It's in your coming down. We'll have a QR code sign up for those interested who can try to make it. On the next slide.
Online public comment is open. We ask that you can be affected by in person or make your comment online. Find send up on the window. Those letters. Sponsored by Robertson Motion, the original author, Meyer, I did Morgan Meyer, Patterson, and Jared Patterson, never heard of this dude, and Paul Morris. Robertson was, I believe that's Maryland was, okay, not the bill that they're actually reading. So in addition to testifying in person or making comments online, we're asking that you call the House Transportation Committee and tell them you not support the bill and contact the public prior to those who need it. I think it's a 512 number, they've got an answering machine as well. If you are a business owner or no business owner, ask them to drop a letter. I'll be collecting some level of letters. If you need to let me or anybody on voting now. If you're a business owner or no business owner, you can type something up. That team was Maya and Marc, traditional in this relationship and so the special blood constituent of Representative Myers, but now is have some different of blood in the call.
The previous period when it was scheduled for the 17th, we need not a
I do not believe so. Information about it by Tuesday. But for the who have already submitted comments, I believe just about everybody here has. There is still a public record of those comments. So we're pretty sure they're going to be considered. If that changes, we'll let you know as soon as we know. So here's the and sign up. This QR code is in the first one, and then you can capture information along and our execs, me, and somebody and others will get in touch with you. We can try to make it down to that guy. So that's the committee room is 10. And that'll be in the bottom floor of the Capitol Extension in Austin, 8 a.m. Thursday, 24th. So if you're to verify yourself, it's fine. And sign your iPad provided inside the room. There is a way to give your details ahead of time so that you'll be registered. And so to everyone else who's going down that understand. Before I go next, I look like I'm also for 7 testimony evidence. Else?
Okay. So again, we in person, there's no online off-campus sign up for the here.
No, there's no so you have to register in person regardless, but you can make that process faster if you create an account online and sign up. So I think did I have that on the speaker notes? Well, if you Google Texas House testimony registration, it'll take you to the page where you can code the file. But again, if you're planning on going down, just message me a message on the data stream and we'll figure it out for you. Okay, yeah, so the calendar events on the Discord and the also have links that are helpful. One of the rest of the things, 1557, 459. As far as today is concerned, we're not being advanced to a hearing. Just a reminder, 1557 is the copy of the House Bill 3187 related to the funding. Senate Bill 3118 and House Bill 59 of the governance ones. We say that's a little bit above our pay grade, but speaking personally, I like the bargaining to stay the way it is, at least proportional to the population at the very least. Okay. So that's some board action lately. It's been really exciting and it's probably going to be about a few years. That real quick. So a couple of our more recent events will be a press conference and the Belleville City Council visit. We did have four speakers representing all of the city of Rossouw and data into the USA. And we're coming back anyway. We had a good 50 people. No, watch the live stream as well. But some people like in council positions and such. And Amazon Andrew Wilson watched it and he was watching now. Hi, Andrew. So when this train was on the next day, I got like all of my old friends texting me. And we're like, oh, we're going to be on. And I was like, yeah, thank you. We were so successful, but we even got our very first tackler. That was something else. That guy sucked. He was the worst, but I think you guys all handled him really well. And, we appreciate everybody from Data, the team, Bart, and the DSA for showing up at the party. So a round of applause for everybody. Thank you. Yeah, now that I got that person early, I'm gonna be a little meaner next time if I have to be. So, so lobby day, what did we do? We sent about 2,000 data members down to Austin. And we spoke to 49 legislators between the House and the Senate. I like to put nearly 50 because that sounds better for the press. But yeah, we talked to a lot of people that day. We even rolled Angela Paxton's staff for like half an hour. And so, everybody there spoke with a senior staffer or somebody who knows what the bill is. So we did drop-ins. We advanced the riders' interests ahead of the hearing. It sounds like it's starting to make a little bit of a difference. So anybody who went to God today, you guys want to stand up and be recognized? Thank you. Nice work, everyone. And for the people in the execs who put it together, especially, thank you. Good work. So let's move to the next slides. A couple of cheeky photos. If you guys need more photos for any reason, just let us know. We've got some Google Drives. So, awesome. Open one on the next slide. Oh, it's me again. Hello. This one will be much shorter. We can go to the next slide. So we have a couple updates on the bylaws. So thank you guys for all feedback. Enrollment's provided a lot as well. These are QR codes to the current version. And we'll code it on that if we like to review those. We'll welcome all feedback and I'll pass along anything handwritten. To Xander and the rest of the execs later. But we're thinking probably next month we'll have a proper discussion at the next data meeting and potentially pass the bylaws for vote. Do we have any questions about the bylaws as they stand or how you can help or just to be familiar with it? Oh, gosh, vegetables. Yeah. I'm gonna know what's going on. I'm going to just all side of it. Okay, any other questions? Yeah, so I'm going to join us today. Let me pass along what he said. So there's a couple of things related to transit that you guys might enjoy. By enjoy, I mean actually hate. Uncrafted principal just arguments, so that's like 70 million in funding for possibly some high speed rail gone. Thank you. So thank you, everybody. Yes, Adam.
It's that with that cancel, it's been banned by the higher.
It's also on that's at a state level. That's thinking about not dividing this late funding to maintain the parking fire. You guys are welcome to go to the politicians about that one as well. Because if Texas doesn't vote by it, Kansas and Oklahoma don't conduct service either. Another thing, congestion pricing, massive success in New York. Glad that's going well for them. I'm really jealous. I can't visit more often. There's very popular, all that stuff. Good things. Good for New York. Again, I don't want to say thank you for the current presidential administration if we try to kill that too.
However, HSI is continuing in crowdfunding. There's a lot of crazy stuff happening with Texas Central, trying to get land, trying to build this stuff. If you're just really bored or trying to build means or work like me, we'll be more learning about what HSI does. Stay tuned to the House website for that one. Okay, so a few things about local involvement. So, Patrick, what did you say? We're very loud and we're very organized. Yeah, relative to a lot of places I've been, Data's pretty loud and pretty organized, and that's a really good thing. But yelling doesn't, yelling only gets us so far, and we're hoping it'll get us far enough to keep BART as it is, or to improve BART when we consider actually being the politicians. Representatives Sheen and Senator Paxton can really cause damage because, well, one, because they're competition, that's really annoying, and two, because they have official powers designated by their election. You can run for office if you want, but there's a lot of other easy ways to get involved locally. Something like a precinct chair for elections, as well as local town councils, town committees, and everything. We'll actually have a small resource for boards and commissions for any board members who are interested. I talked that up a while ago. We'll get your proper link to that one. That is available for anybody who's thinking, great, can I get on the planning and zoning commission? Can I do this for my city? You can. And there's multiple opportunities here to get involved. Sorry, please, there we go. So, talking about efforts, thank you more for that. Joining the 27th opportunities to vote as soon as the 22nd, which is this Tuesday, for next Tuesday, the 29th. And then the final election day of the vote votes, was is moving around. And so even in Dallas, there's the most popular election in their city to vote to. Well, not me, but yes, he was, and I was taking a position now. What you guys hear me say, this is his office. But he's really proud of the work he's done. But I think he's really good at seeing all the volunteer organizations and those affected as well, and rallying and cause. Yeah, people want to talk about more what we're doing, and now the one of us they talk about that a hell of a lot more. So that's what, guys. So he's really proud of the work he's done, and we're really going to let him consider us for as long as possible, and we'll always be our friend. So if you get a chance to say hi before he heads out, give him the same. Somebody else wants to speak now. I'm the policy research committee chair. Is that separate? Okay. City council elections, May 3rd. So we try to figure out who the friendlies are out of everybody, because we have 13 cities. Every city has multiples of candidates, or some are not having elections this year. So we kind of went down the list, figure out what to and let's go down the list. So because basically to get voted with the constituents that they have, everybody in Plano goes, we will lower taxes, we will improve roads, we will improve businesses. That's it. That's basically what everyone's saying. So you really have no idea until they get into office and do what they do. So unfortunately, I cannot give much guidance on that at this moment. We've seen Marc, we know what he stands for, so we feel like he is a friend to us. In Irving, we have the City Vigilante, she came to talk to us last month, and also Tony Grimes, they are both council candidates. In Addison, we have incumbent Austin and Nancy Craig, Danny Missio, and Martin Wilson. They are running for council, and they have also been friends. In Regency, we have Bob is the incumbent mayor. In RC is also from Bob, Bob, so we defer to his position at the moment. In Groton, we have, who's the mayoral candidate. And Ralph, who is also running for mayor. And if he gets elected, there are many big plans that will happen. Going to city council meetings, I have not city council meetings anymore. What they say and what they do is completely different. So, also have a, as a very good, so it's about an hour and a half. Basically, the start, and Michael is the presenter. And, as you might have known, basically the Regional Transportation Council wants the whole bill to go and have it be how that issues be resolved locally, so they have offered, with Clay Jenkins as the mediator and, two others, I believe, from the RPC acting as a mediator between the member cities and DART. And for a total of 5 hours, and RPC believe that DART cities were looking ahead of the negotiations. But the day of this meeting, basically, the 5 cities, Carrollton, Park and Farmers Branch, they sent out a letter saying they don't want a delineation anymore. We want the 25%. We want the legislation to go through the process. The reason why I say I'm saying that I can't trust city council meetings anymore is because a week ago, Carrollton City Council during the meeting said, hey, I think the negotiations are going pretty well. And then a week later, he signs the letter saying he doesn't want negotiations anymore. So, moving on. There are some segments of it that I would NCT Cog's website if you want to review that. And the long short is the vision is to develop density and commerce around the existing 80 train stations in the area. And that's what the analysts are saying. You need to develop the train stations that are bringing more sales tax revenue, more fuel revenue, and so in order to bring to be able to get that tax revenue in order to provide the maintenance and the infrastructure needed to go into the future. Next slide. So basically, section on growth, right? And the shaded red and dark. So they see this huge problem. Service by a transit agency. So it's said, that's the for the Central Texas region. He said there and that we can spend in order to service these people with just roads. We need transit. Next slide. So two measures. The negotiations between the guard and the member cities. This is exactly from Texas legislature requesting RTC to implement Transit 2.0 initiatives for the 90th legislature. So, and Plano came out here, and I thought these are some choice words that Mayor Munn said.
he said he repeatedly vote for any of these, vote for these two measures. And he said he wants a 25% cut no matter what. He said this is right sizing our tax obligations that they've been paying to that. And he also said he doesn't believe that 25%. He said a 25% cut would not affect operations in a major way.
25% cut would cause the trains to start falling apart as opposed to.
So let's go to the second thing. This local. Basically, they do a little to introduce a new level, which they can actually do even after this session, or so 3187, they can offer a substitute by committee. So that is a possibility, even though time seems pretty short. Basically, session that passed the Regional Conservation Council to provide a new transit institutional push in the 90s session, so that's in 2027, to basically this is difficult. Basically, asked RTC to write a law for the 90s legislation in 2027 that incorporates Transit 2.0 results, member city concerns, potential new member city wishes, head interests from Texas legislators. So basically, write a law, ask RTC to write a law that will enable new membership into transit agencies and incorporating all the studies that they've already paid for. So then committee members, with our Senate committee members. So this doesn't include that. It'll take you about 30 minutes. This QR code should send you to a document with the Texas House Committee members for transportation. Care about what's your name, your zip code, and the position of the something like so and my zip code is your zip code. And if you're not a constituent, you say, I'm not a constituent of so-and-so, but I am a resident of Texas calling because of his or her membership in the Transportation Committee. I would like to register my opposition to HB 3187. This list, by the way, because he is a co-sponsor on the bill. So we can call the Transportation Committee, but so we can just say, hey, because you are a co-sponsor to this bill. And that's it. It'll take you 30 minutes. You can go quick. The staffers honestly don't have that much time on their hands right now. They're very busy. So they will appreciate that you know what you're asking for. And if you want to talk to us, feel free. They're obligated to listen to you. Next page. Showed you this last month. If you don't think there's something responses. This is a letter from Kim Button, one of our contacts. Just email, and she sent a hard copy letter saying that she has heard him. Next page. Okay. Yes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Okay, so another recommendation hot off the press is make sure you can especially say, hey, I'm a resident of Texas, but also actually affected by this legislation. So personal stories are nice. I provided mine to a couple when I called them way back then. So You got a lot of ways you can do it, but yeah, just registering that you don't support it will be more than enough. Okay, let's move on to the next slide. So like I said, we had 114 anti-3180 comments in like 3 days. I did send a 25-page document to the city council personally. I haven't concluded, but they're going to try and run the shit out of them. So yeah, I know this is stressing us out, but they should be stressed out too. They should be losing sleep over this, just like we are. So do your best to immediately. Only one comment from the East, and this guy was from like Carabao, Texas, in the whole country, and he said he worked for an organization that believes highways should be free. Yeah. So toll-free highways, but he doesn't think they need government programs for the so this Ramp like that. So we also did notice that two additional comments on the HSR bill were registered for 3187 that they pulled off. So that's really a total of 136 public comments. So thank you guys for submitting. If you guys haven't submitted one, again, there's a and we are welcome to submit one. So we please take a second to write that you do not support HB 3187. If you've already done this, you probably don't have to do it again. But you just feel like it. Yeah. So let's take a second. The story that I shared was, my parents and I, we sold our second car, saved a lot of money. I took guard around, and I saved a lot of money and tried some more diabetes treatments with that money. I would lose that money. So I'm either looking for development GPU or something. I never else can be able to do that. But I'm losing money, but there's a help improvement. Let's not have to get another car again. They just like car. So something simple, personal like that would be good. Tough. Some most money will cover that. I go to the south. Again, as I part of it, which will stop you, but I itself. Yeah, so. That's all right. Yeah, it definitely does not hurt. So we're looking for House Bill 3187, so the public comment, it should be like one of the 24th.
Yeah, the 22nd is gonna be above, so you gotta scroll.
Yeah, scroll all the way down to the 24th meeting, and it should be there. Relating to the powers of regional transportation or something. What's up?
Put self for now and then data for Thursday.
I suppose I don't actually know. This is the first time I've ever had with the legislature this much, but yeah. Any amount of voice speaking is good. Any other questions? Sec. I'm really wanting some more quiet time to let my thoughts out. We're good to go to the next part.
So just another cheeky sign-in reminder. This just helps us keep our contact information up to date. That way we can contact you with any updates.
All right, so from getting served, I'm going to stand in for Rohan since unfortunately Rohan can't make it today. He has a lot of busy stuff with high school going on, and there's a little thing that she wanted to share about at the end of the slide. So, next up. Yes, we are really doing good in our social media, and so far we're close to 1,000 followers. So, really, yep. And I also want to share how the Austin trip really impacted us. I want you to look closely right here. So as you can see, all these the eye icons actually are amazing viewers. So this can be viewers from non-followers or following. So and then most of the percentage is actually non-following. So we're actually making a difference. So if you want, we would like for y'all to also not only that you like it or send us a follow, but also share it as well. The more we share, the more we can do a big number of podcasts, so we can hit 2,000. But so far, this is a really good turnout. Great job, you guys. I just want to give you guys a round of applause for yourselves. And yes, here's some photos at the press conference. There, I also posted 3 reels, 3 part reels where it's talk about Plano, not only the press conference, but also Plano spoils, and also more photos of the press conference too as well. So go ahead and wow. Yep, see how long they put us. And the real one that has 1,000 views is the one that's like the most viewed one. And now that here's all the photos of like more of like everything in Austin. So the photo on your left is actually Aurora. So Aurora is actually I think they're following us, I think. But actually on the good note is that they're collaborating with us on that reel. The good news is we had Aurora in that social. We also had 2 more photos of like awesome Lobby and Day too as well. So again, really great shout out to all that can make it. And yeah, next slide. Yeah, this is, I guess I mentioned it, but follows, and also if you guys any other information ideas, great. On a side note though, I need some help on just extra storage because I think my phone is about to run out of storage because of all these videos. But I'll get that figured out soon. But it will be a main great deal if you guys can have a lot of ideas, and I'll be willing to share or on too as well. So next slide. And this is one side note I will wants to mention. He actually has a final presentation tonight because of his end of his high school. So he's actually done a research of his study mentorship. So and he's actually doing a study in urban planning, which is just his study. And he posted address and car parking available and most of the time. So if you want to go support, he really put a lot in the social media and stuff too. But same time, support it. That's all it works. So that's all I wanted to share. And next slide. Is that all my slides are? So
Yes.
okay. Yes. Okay. Yeah, thank you for that. So another social media thing, I think we've talked with a couple of people about it, but LinkedIn is a thing that we're trying to do. If you guys like writing cute little articles or something like that, or want to engage on LinkedIn, we'd love to have any tips. I know Rohan would because he's 18, I would be on LinkedIn. So he is on LinkedIn, but you know, I was on LinkedIn? I was not on LinkedIn when I was 18. Wow. Oh wow. Okay. Y'all are right ahead of the game. Yeah, I know, seriously, it's the minimum. So I wanted to kind of put these slides together related to the 5% general ability fund. This is a cool important thing that we wanted to break down. This matters a lot to us as the liars for the service, to you as far as keeping jobs and keeping our maintenance up to speed. So let's break it down a little bit. Next slide. So, and some arrangements to try to placate Plano and some of the other cities. But I didn't be clear that Plano has said
They're going to launch this, they launch the whole legislation, so regardless of Bart's decisions here, they're still going to try to kill it. Which is,
Their board reps voted against it.
yeah, so the board reps voted against it. Yeah. Also, voted against the bus procurement program after some time doesn't get enough service. So like, there's a lot of things that are really confusing about these guys. But that's the false one. Anyway, so let's talk about this GMP. So it's 5% of Belt's budget. And it distributes that 5% to the Belt's member cities based on the EY report. EY report said, things like there's some 60 million in gap between what you contribute in sales tax to what they are allowed in service. And so considering other things, what cities have requested as part of, just talked about the work. Some of these are good, some of these are a little silly, like shuttle ideas, where we can just increase route frequency, or gauge expansions, where we can again just add bus routes. And these are sometimes offered by contractors, not as good as existing bus services. And this will last 2 years while they figure this out. You can kind of see here the gap between the GMP, where there's 32 million city service requests for all member cities is only 18.5, maybe a little more than the rest. And then board needs some additional silver line operations. 10 unknowns. So this was kind of published by Bart Finance recently, I think, presented. So these are the relatively official figures. So that's 78 million that has to come out of regular service. Right. So what does this mean? It would last 2 years, and then Bart will talk about an equity adjustment based on a new methodology of how cities are being served. That's a lot of finance stuff we can do later. And with the silver line accounting for which the EY study does not do, and to the EY study credit, they said that we didn't do this, you guys should consider this. So let's move on to the next slide. So what does this 5% mean? And what are the consequences? That's Connor's words and also mine. So it's pretty wide is what this means is 6 local coverage routes gone. Those are the 2 World Series routes. 3 express routes, including our beloved 305, gone. Building zones gone. And zone design pilots, which let's shut up about, gone, ironically. So this would say 14 million of that more need. So the stuff from the already need and already use gone. Frequency collections on and also would also happen. So you can see here in the numbers, it's peak on the left, center, / midway, / off peak. So the current use, we can have peak service in the right 15 minutes. That goes to 20-minute peaks, 20-minute off peak, 30-minute. Look at the 2-minute series and 1-minute series buses. Some things happen every 15 minutes. Now they'll most of them another 20, more likely every 60. Records for 5%. So this isn't good for the ladders, this isn't good for the operators. Here's a it's going to be affected. Yeah. Sustain, but I would like to 5. I want to go at 6.5. So that stops them playing out in Addison. Yes, Dan.
It has been heard yet. I think what they're going to do, I think is a possibility, but they could also do, instead of, they might remove 305, so they can do 308 at a stop on Addison, then go to
That would be fine. It would be fine today, honestly. I'd like to quickly deploy it because that's where I work, unfortunately. This is the section of changes. So if you're in the green area, you can expect more change. Those are mostly building signs. They're trying to keep those because they are popular. Blue is reduced service, so a lot of kind of elements can be reduced, as well as pretty much every bus route, daily rail road outright discontinued. Ironically, the top of it is Plano, so they're going to lose some of their buses, but they're being like that areas. And some as well. So every bus system is affected by those demands. So that's not what's happening. So those trains, there's no train being discontinued.
Okay, so the trains say, most of them say, the 6 I mentioned, like kind of the 200. And then, but everything is a fee reduction.
The color of this part do not correspond to the rail.
No, these are bus routes. Yeah.
Yeah, that's the 378 down there, but look, one, that's 350.
Okay. Questions? Yes.
I know that it's been discussed before that Plano has not actually been able to pull itself out of dark. Can Dark vote to evict Plano?
I think
The last board or the legal meeting where this 5% was voted on.
So the resolution for this 5% that passed, does that mean that, was that resolution binding, like this is going to happen? Okay, so there's still a chance to kill this, correct? Okay, correct. It's not binding, but the staff is planning as if it is going to happen, yes.
That's the problem.
so. We got some strategy stuff coming up. Any other questions on the effects? We're not good.
They are planning to implement this in December.
December, so these would start in December.
They're moving forward.
Okay.
They're saying in that line, they're moving forward. That's fast.
Gotcha.
We get ready to do a markup of September, and that's when most of our route changes will appear.
Gotcha.
So they're gonna start subtracting routes in the next 3-4 months.
See another public hearing soon for these service cuts. We will have to, I believe. So we'll probably see a hearing in June or July. Okay. Yeah, but I keep 6 months out.
That's packed with things.
Yes. So we've got some strategy stuff, but like, isn't it kind of funny how cuts happen so quickly that improvements take decades? Yeah. Anyways, love that. Thank you. So there's some problems with the compromise on that side. Okay, so the bus elimination's a little bad. I actually didn't write Addison years at 305, even though I'm personally interested in that one, but Connor did. Thank you, Connor. We're looking for elections again, like our two friends were saying, you can't get a whole job. So there's two series of elections going out, each unacceptable in letter. You guys had a really solid average level of relative since the COVID, since 2021, they've gone up roughly 8%, really solid ridership recovery. And the contract looks the city resolutions that protect our funding. So we got to remember that Addison, Richardson, Glen Heights, Raleigh, all past resolutions supporting DART. What do we look at that? Jack shit. It's because a lot of those cities were overserved by the UI study, so they actually don't get anything out of the general military fund, as far as I understand. And that's not the final quote. That's so the cities that said we love Dark, we want to keep it, did nothing because Plano is getting away. And Plano again says this is not good enough, no matter what vote was here with the legislation. This proposition is unpopular across the board. It's unpopular with people who said they wanted to support it too, but that's just speculation. Don't quote me on that. So the popular fact that the position of Colby happens to be correct. We certainly know so. So let's jump into killing this. So here's the thing, it's all strategy, right? There's a lot of people in suits that are just trying to sort this out. Some of them are moving in good faith. Because they're trying to solve this as, hey, look, we can solve this problem locally because this isn't the first time, this has been brought to the legislature, longer ago as the city's complaining, maybe the state says, well, you guys can't solve it. So they're really trying to take steps to figure this out. Now they're cutting off a foot to save the leg. It can still be damaged, but at least you still have the leg. We see why this is happening, and that's why we come in. So we don't like this because they can blame after the legislation was killed. They can blame cutting this 5% and taking the GDP on us because we said we didn't like it. So that still looks good. And we're going to support the ridership, and we'll do this to keep in service. They can blame it on us. I'm happy to be so let's see.
Should we go in with perhaps to call the conference, the local resolution should be that anybody signing on to this GMP should have to pass a resolution supporting that. That's what should happen. And so, like I said, what I was saying there, we just want to make sure we can blame it on us. So if DART kills it after the legislation without any fire from us, that means more people for the next legislative session. Like I says, hey, they lied, even though this plan is dumb and it's bad for the voters. We did ammunition for NATO. We did that. It's also true that it's not as bad as 1987. It's not as bad, but it's still good. So let's go to some solutions we've been thinking on. So city service requests that are part of it are 18.5 million. And the takes it on the year, job promise those for 2 years, 122 million thereabouts. One idea is city service requests because they could fund that with their own GMP. And a lot of city service requests are not like the most sound transit policy. You know, they're shuttle services, they're one building, contract based stuff, but could be solved by just increasing frequency on routes, in my opinion. So, you know, you could argue that these are their services and DART provides, and why not just use that for motel service? Makes sense? So let's say there's some services go 46 million back to the buyers. Since DART's mobility fund, they kind of covers a soft fund to fund things. It currently has 25 million. We can use that to fund it. Okay, good. That's more service return. We would also ask the Regional Transmission Council to fund this. So far, if we convince DART to do the first two things, we'd save 61 million over the 2 years. And if we get whether that LTC, we can hear about 40 million, we'll be forward.
I forgot, the next during the RTC meeting breakdown, my opinion is I'm partial to that idea as well. It was brought up during the meeting and Michael Morris was saying, yeah, we'll look into it.
Oh, sweet. Okay. There's some more action items on the RTC coming up, so that is good to hear though. We can also simply not from this, and that's the idea, right? Because we can still get the money from the RTC, we can still fulfill the member city's requests, but the GMP gone, service is maintained. So if that is more funding, provide service to the riders and the workers, that's good. Again, that's not politically an option for them unless we roll another mistake. Okay, so some other thoughts here that Connor had. So we ask about it constantly. I would say otherwise with this hearing was heard, depending on what happens, we should back to the board and say, hey, stop this. Hey, stop this. Please stop this. Oh my God, you have to stop this. This gives DART the action that we're talking about. You know, once the legislation dies, they have a lot more ability in the playing field. So that's that one quick move. So talk with our city council members and then transit support cities. And I think I can't remember. Oh, right. So talk to your current support council members and the council members in general and say, hey, I'm going to be talking to my voting commission that I'm on and the Addison Council saying, hey, you guys stuck your neck out for DART and this is what they're doing. You guys should be mad. I'm pretty sure those who know are mad about it. Tell your councilors what's happening. If we think it's right, we see funding, and that will be discussed, I think, in the coming months. This needs to die. Service cuts do require a certain majority on the board. So if we can convince it, not those on the same board members to vote against it, this would mean they have to go back to the drawing board and take things out. The council can make some noise because they have millions in the relationships. So I think it's really no reason to support this because we're actually loan a city at the UI methodology by about 20 million. They got a lot quieter after the UI study came out. So we're saying to only lose from this because they get nothing from GMP and they lose the net service that they already have. So if you're from urban, you just some people run for city council urban seem disconnected from reality. You can just remind them. Definitely. I think it's like for August, sounds like we're really not till July. So the fact about it. And then some questions for us in a moment. So just remember, Simply not ready. So what did you know? So why are we going to? People like we're talking about why are we about this to cut service to serve cities that hate DART? Okay, so really not. These people feel like they can like sounds like a bunch of us. So why are we trying to cut a bunch of numbers? So there's a lot of good personal, just a lot of just against this. We encourage you guys to speak out against this to your board members, your city council. Any questions on this? So Tim first.
Oh, should we just wait till the election or go ahead and call them now?
City council, talk to them. Yeah, talk to the candidates too. So don't hesitate. I want to think we're going to this week we'll focus on the legislation. So call if you can at the local level, that's a promise. But really, we're going after Thursday, depending on what happens. But like, talk to candidates, talk to people, let's talk to people that stay in office. Sorry. This person.
I was kind of asked about just the RTC and the Harris and mayors. And has anyone from data had a chance to have a one-on-one with Michael Harris or any of the mayors from these cities? And so, feedback.
I think some of it's about the odd ones about some mayors. Only a little bit.
Does anyone have like an actual sit down with Michael Morris or
Not Michael Morris to my knowledge.
okay?
But they do know about something. One actually presented at the RTC the other month. So there's a relationship there.
I've had a chance to have many bookings directly with Michael Morris too at the times.
During your visit to the library. Yeah, it's not 6 months. So they do last week.
So what I've seen here in the checks with what I kind of heard with the one. So I'll give an example. I knew what Plano was going to do 4 years ago. We kind of sees what's going on and what he's really aiming for, just FYI. He's trying to figure out a way to restructure the transit systems to get basically everyone into a singular system. He's trying to avoid an LA or San Francisco type scenario. Part of that is getting this scared about the 5%, which please keep putting like hell against that. But I don't know. I want to see, I could see if I could try to get a hold of Plano's leadership, and his leadership, one-on-one interviews, and I can get to him versus ideal development and factories. I'm told this because I just got through with now $15 million worth of entitlements for transit development in Southern Dallas. So I don't get to show up to these, but I can do the same thing in other cities. And we kind of know what they're wanting. They want the tax dollars, and let's see if we can get them a carrot that distracts them from this. So,
Gotcha. Thanks for the insight. You guys, if we can help in any way. Any other questions? Good. Okay. Yeah, Mike's coming.
All right. So, when we had a meeting with, what was it, Canales' office, one of their suggestions was talking with RTC and somehow, okay, let's go bring home tons of money. Okay, can we put a portion of that money aside to pay off payouts and something like that? Themselves, yeah. So so there might be something there with using FIFA money to one-time pay off Plano, and then hopefully as data, we can be likely getting other politicians over the course of the next, couple of years, getting other politicians into the plan of city council to a point where we can avoid this, moving forward in the future.
Thank you.
So because of those reductions, you probably want to only significant cut to the number of people who use it in any utilitarian way. Those things that everybody can draw as the city council and voters detached from the voters of the they're from issuing members the financial reasons because they're highest to move to Newburgh.
Yes, you're right.
That's fair.
So, yeah, if there are people that can be convinced, they usually can be, and probably only are. If they can't be, their lives should be, their job should be difficult. Should make that difficult for them. Okay.
Link to the suggestion that in order to get the GMP, you should have to stop supporting it. It was a very important premise in the committee meetings about fiduciary responsibility. And I don't allow that to happen because they're basically saying our fiduciary responsibility remains with the city, is not with us, which is an odd thing to say, and people are against it. But the way the votes have gone, and even the one when they did the 5%, there was a separate vote on fiduciary responsibility, which went the opposite way to allow that to happen.
Interesting. Yeah. Questions, thoughts? Just about done here. Yeah.
I was just gonna say, we got the city council saying about the parking minimums, parking minimums, required parking minimums is certainly makes it hard for those constitution about property. And the last I was meeting with my city councilman's office about that, and an interesting thing came up. He said that it's about that. And so if you care about that issue, the issue of the mandated minimum parking, the people that are economic development committees, the ones that are going to be making a recommendation to the council. Of course, the bias is on it, he's on his way up, but he's on it for now. Elections as a student last weekly in autumn. So certainly make a suggestion right now, and if you talk to him now, you'll have a big impact.
Oh. I thought you had something.
I just want to thank you guys for staying up on this thinking regard. I could not have done by myself, fighting with this. I wish you knew TV. Someone talked about it, and and continue. I've been calling for a long time. I've been doing the great everybody stayed out of the abstainers on this.
That should sound like you had some. Thank you for one comment. So the CMU event a couple of weeks ago, Kay Shelton, the chief of staff, spoke. She said was she tried to give us to shift our direction to try and find alternative funding for GARD. So I think pursuing this line of getting the RTC to send more findings our way is a really fruitful path that we should pursue on. Campaign going for them. In Arlington. There's no just like very hard for anyone to attend, but if anybody can go there in person, do public comments to the RTC, that'd be great because then you never get any in-person public comments. Yeah, it's funny you say that, Patrick. So on the 8th has the next RTC meeting. Yeah, Connor's ready. If you kind of go on there, on my file, but anything afternoon, we can get some info out. If you work from home, you can. So anybody can go to this in Arlington, we'll send out some more details ahead of it. You can speak in favor of the RTC fund and the 5% GMP. That would be a great. I see. Okay, it's actually just about everything. I'm going to take one last sweep of questions about anything we've covered in this meeting. Yes, sir.
Do we have friendly for the county election?
That's not a.
In November, there were partisan elections.
So we'll see who's most transit friendly. Although data is officially nonpartisan, we are pro-transit, so that is a heavy factor. What we talk about. And we got one.
I guess I'll add a side note. I just put out the news. I got a local bike. His name is Echo. Echo, well, pretty much. So the good news is it's downstairs. It's really awesome. I recommend y'all guys check it out before you guys walk out.
Yeah. No place is safe from man right now. He can get anywhere. Last thing.
Really coming out soon.
So you can make what's up.
Ben, thanks for the line. So I've actually looked on the zoning ordinance advisory committee that voted to push parking reform. We pushed through basically no parking. Basically arguing that let's just scrape the whole foundation, start with, we needed permission to cut out, take and choose this. As a point that economic development committee, on the council a lot. Here's what we're trying to defend. There's a lot of good policy in there, maybe even free parking when office, most retail uses, and so on and so forth. Specifically for pro-trans, there is a clause in there that says if within half a mile of a gas station, stop parking minimum.
Entirely. Now, it's the council. There's a pretty likely they're gonna find slice and dice on a bunch of other policies, but if nothing else, please defend that radius. That half-mile radius is very crucial, and just to understand just the development dynamics, part of what allows areas like Bishop Arts and those Greenville and stuff to get all hot and cool is because they have some special ability that other parts of the city don't have. Mainly reduce parking requirements. In the North, there's no, in the scenario where the city says, we're not gonna do that much parking reform, but they keep the half-mile radius, it naturally prioritizes development around rail stations and gives them a very clear advantage over non-transit oriented development. So if you're doing one with council, one clause in the streetcar, there is the streetcar local car is politically sensitive. If it comes to it, be prepared to jettison that out and say, hey, if you got to, we can exclude the streetcar from that clause or put that a quarter-mile radius. But from actual light rail stations, you've got to make sure you defend that half-mile radius.
Cool. Exactly. Anything left? I'm going to call it down. Is there no more questions?
There's no form for the discussion.
Yeah. So we were going to talk about elected re-election for the policy, not policy chair, media and government relations chair. Currently, what? Yeah, we have government relations. As stated, in the meantime, we will be holding an election in a future date. So if you're interested, start thinking about it. Oh, right. So, as copies of the paper copies of the bylaws with some notes on them as well. If anybody wants to take those home and review them, speak with him before you leave. Okay, that's it. Thank you guys all for coming on it. I agree. Yes.